You think you know how strong Jin Woo is? Well, think again. Most people stop at the anime. Maybe you know how to look at pictures and read the webtoon. But the novels reveal just how broken he becomes at level 999 or even infinity. So I am diving deep into the untold power of the Shadow Monarch, going over abilities you have never seen, battles that redefine OP, and feats that will blow your mind. Because Jin Woo's full power showcased in the new Solo Leveling Ragnarok sequel makes everything you've seen a joke. Even as a summoner class hunter who aren't known for physical strength, Jin Woo is just built different. Using the architect's system logic, by the end of Solo Leveling, his strength alone reaches over level 350, but in Ragnarok, it's immeasurable. For perspective, your average S-ranker's strength is around 50 to 60, and every level added is exponential, which makes an overwhelming difference. Jin Woo had already reached this in Season 2 after the Red Gate incident, which allowed him to stand toe-to-toe against the Guildmaster of White Tiger, Baek Yoon-ho. A S-ranker's battle is said to be a city-level devastation, where the environment around them is at risk to be completely destroyed. In Ragnarok chapter 229, we learn that a S-class battle is a natural disaster level nuisance. That's why Jinho has created a virtual reality hunters game for S-rankers to train to their heart's content without destroying cities. We witnessed this with a 20-year-older and much weaker Thomas Andre, who isn't even at national level during the Yujiro incident. And yet, while fighting, the shockwaves from his punches are strong enough to obliterate buildings, leaving the area in ruins. At this strength, he even leveled a forest in the Elvenwood. Hell, by the time of the Jeju Island raid, Jin Woo is already stronger than all of the other S-rankers in Korea combined. But when he reached level 97 after clearing the demon castle, we see his true progress as the Korean strike force try to take on the Black Ants but are completely dominated, whereas Jin Woo literally plays around with these bugs and effortlessly claps the Ant King, who killed multiple Japanese S-ranks including a national level candidate in Goto Ryuji. So Jin Woo defeating and then taming Beru makes him a country level threat. Furthermore, in Ragnarok at level 100, Jin Woo's son, Suho, effortlessly kills a S-rank Naga boss at the Manipur dungeon in one shot. These things are building sized, by the way. So Suho's father at the same level could definitely accomplish this feat by comboing more of these S-rank strikes. A whole city will be gone in no time. The only ones on the planet who are even comparable to Jin Woo at level 100 are the national level hunters, leading us to conclude that Jin Woo can easily destroy a nation's entire army all on his own. But Jin Woo's strength isn't even worth comparing to them, as shown with his fight against the strongest national level hunter and tanker, Thomas Andre. Here, Jin Woo basically beats him to the brink of death. He completely overpowers Andre even after he transforms with the power of the ruler. Their battle is so fierce that a whole building is turned to rubble by the end of this skirmish, forming a crater. If they weren't in a remote area, the whole block would have been gone, and they weren't even using all of their powers. Just with this feat of defeating Thomas Andre, Jin Woo was already at a continent level threat at level 146, because Thomas is the same hunter who fought and defeated the S-class dragon boss Kamish, which was responsible for the destruction of the entire US West Coast, including the massacre of over 99 S-class hunters, where only 5 other hunters survived, including Thomas Andre, and they beat this dude. And this isn't even close to his full strength yet, because what if I told you that Jin Woo goes beyond your imagination, making him planetary? But at this point, you're probably thinking, how is this even possible? Isn't he just a human hunter like everyone else?
No.
He's not. I told you, he's built different. After showcasing his undying will to survive under the most improbable odds, Jin Woo, as an E-rank hunter, was chosen to be the Shadow Monarch, the most powerful creation in the entire universe. The Iterum, known as the absolute being who made everything in Jin Woo's universe, just started with 2 groups of insanely strong entities, the rulers and the monarchs, one made from fragments of light and the other from darkness. However, the first Shadow Monarch, Ashborn, originally started as a ruler and was crafted from the greatest fragment of light, which pretty much made him the strongest. In turn, he was also the most loyal to the absolute being, which granted him a secret gift for being daddy's favorite, which came in handy when the rulers and the monarchs got tired of all this fighting and killed their creator. But what's important here is that before they did this, the rulers gave ganged up on Ashbourne, leaving him for dead so he couldn't intervene. However, before he could die, Papa's gift awakened upon death, transforming Ashbourne into the Shadow Monarch. At this point, there is only one other existence who even matches up to his power: the King of the Dragons and the Monarch of Destruction, Antares. He was also both the strongest and the oldest of the 9 monarchs, as well as the final antagonist of Solo Leveling. But regardless, Jin Woo is blessed to inherit the power of the strongest being that exists. Well, in his universe at least. I'll get more into that in just a bit, because before Jin Woo could tap into this ridiculous godly power, Ashbourne wanted to meticulously train the boy using the game type system, ensuring he utilized every ability properly and his body wouldn't just get destroyed. This perfectly allows us to see how busted Jin Woo becomes, which is why his fight against Andre is even more telling, as just like Jin Woo, Thomas had been chosen to wield godlike power, that of the rulers. So before even fully wielding the power of Ashbourne, he was able to face off against apostles of beings comparable to the other monarchs. And that's why Jin Woo, with his complete power now on display, instantly takes down both of the Frost and Beast Monarch in only a few strikes. Mind you, the Beast Monarch alone was making a joke out of Germany's strongest hunter Lennart Nierman and Thomas Andre together. The Beast Monarch was even able to mock being thrown through multiple buildings, destroying them with his body. Yet Jin Woo, at level 146 and fully awakened, ended him, and then on top of that, he fought on equal footing and defeated the Dragon Monarch Antares, the strongest of creations. This man was going band for band against the most powerful offense of the Black Flames. To put Jin Woo's raw strength into perspective, Antares had taken over the second largest country in the world, Canada, and was said to be the most durable armored creature in existence. Yet it was nothing against Jin Woo's strength. But after the timeline gets reset, Jin Woo has leveled up even more in the void, reaching heights that would allow him to one-shot Antares. But our GOAT isn't just strong, he's incredibly fast too. A big part of this is thanks to his shadow exchange ability. Using this, Jin Woo can utilize his shadows as a fast travel point, being able to swap locations with them. Before the final battle, he literally teleports from America to Korea in seconds. But let's be honest, that's not real physical speed. You need to have a shadow already in place for that. However, even without it, Mr. Aura Farmer is mega fast. From early on, he was undetectable by other S rankers. We see this just after he's upgraded to S rank, and while walking to Bayek, he just appears to vanish mid-sentence as he jumps past a group of reporters. And by the end of the series, Jin Woo was practically undetectable to every other monarch with the exception of Antares. Furthermore, when the Beast Monarch tries to escape from him through a portal, how does Jin Woo respond? He covers the entire planet in a shadow, instantly locating where the monarch had escaped to and teleports to him in a matter of seconds. Meaning, wherever Jin Woo's shadow can reach, he can be there in a flash, like instant transmission. But it gets even crazier when we bring in his son to gauge his father's power. Suho is currently going through his own leveling up process to become the new Monarch of Destruction in the Ragnarok light novel. Although he is past level 100 now, he's nowhere close to Jin Woo's maximum level. In fact, one of Jin Woo's Legion commanders, Beru, is still much more powerful than Suho, and only recently has he even become stronger than his mother Cha-Hain. But even as a child, Suho had already reached level 99 when his father tested his potential in the Shadow Dungeon, where he had to run the gauntlet against his father's shadows. As a preschooler in the OG Solo Leveling novel on chapter 269, nice, it stated that first Suho burst past the sound barrier and even went faster than light. So considering that Jin Woo still had control over his son and suppressed these memories as mere dreams, he's insanely fast as well. But I know from the comments that some of you can't read and think this was all a dream, so let me spit some straight facts. In chapter 305 of Ragnarok, it is stated that Suho is fast enough to dodge dense beams of light. And what level was Suho when he did this? Well, the last known level of Suho before this was level 122 in chapter 243. And after counting all of the level up notifications while dodging the lasers, he is level 135, which is 11 levels lower than Jin Woo was when the system stopped for him. This is before he even gained all of Ashbourne's powers, by the way. However, these light speed feats could just be small bursts of good reaction time, right? What about actual speed, like going from one location to another? Well, we don't see Jin Woo do this, as he chooses to use Shadow Exchange or ride on Kaisel in the OG novel, but his son is a different story. Before even hitting level 99, Suho ran from Seoul to Yongpyang, which is around 200 kilometers in a blink of an eye. And how fast is that? Well, I had the same question, so I asked Harrison earlier this morning because I didn't want to do math. So he told me to travel 200 kilometers in 0.4 seconds, you would need to move at a speed of 500,000 meters per second, or 1.8 million kilometers per hour. This is far beyond the speed of any human-made vehicle or natural phenomenon, approaching a significant fraction of the speed of light. I don't know what those numbers mean because I'm from America, but that sounds fast. So Jin Woo, who even has the Quicksilver ability that increases his speed by 30%, is much faster than the feats Suho, a mere monarch candidate, has accomplished so far. However, speed and strength are nothing if you aren't durable. There is a reason the world's strongest hunter before Jin Woo was a tanker like Thomas Andre. One of the biggest abilities that help our boy is of course Kandiaru's Blessing, which is a passive power to regenerate any body part. But the best part is the longevity factor, which makes him immune to all diseases, illnesses, or poison. So getting nerfed into oblivion because of some lame ass heart virus is out of the question for him Woo. Even against straight up punches, Jin Woo was able to tank a whole unguarded strike to the face by the Ant King with only a tiny cut on his lips. And this was when he was just level 97. This Ant King was said to be able to threaten an entire continent on his own due to his S-class boss status. Hence why the strongest of both Japan, Korea, and even later China teamed up to fight against the ants. When comparing his defenses to Thomas Andre, they were flying through buildings and creating a whole ass crater on the ground only for the smoke to clear, and us realizing that Jin Woo was aura farming while taking no damage. He takes a step, he gains like 1,000,000 aura. He moves a finger and he gains aura, man. I wish I was like that. Sadly, the Huz is the one.
Come on, man.
The only one to even come close to putting a dent on Jin Woo after he became the true Shadow Monarch was Antares, whose black flames of destruction left a mark on Jin Woo, which he still has in the Ragnarok days, as Suho mentions remembering that scar on his father's hand in chapter 199. This attack is so devastating that it literally erases you from existence, but in order to save Igris from this fate, Jin Woo tanked it with his bare hands, only having a bit of a burn. Furthermore, in this same fight, Jin Woo learned to cloak himself in shadow armor, which turns literal death itself into a shield for the Shadow Monarch. With this on, he was able to take on 7 beams of destruction at the same time with barely any damage. Even if you somehow manage to get past the Shadow Susanoo and hurt Jin Woo, he will simply regenerate himself. In fact, in Ragnarok, we witness just how powerful the Shadow Monarch really is. During Suho's fight against the S-ranker Siddharth Bachchan, who had been corrupted by the powers of the Etrums that create universes, he witnessed the levels of power Jin Woo endured during his fight against Antares. Basically, right, once Suho hit level 99, the trial to become the candidate of the Monarch of Destruction begins, which meant that he had to level up to 100 while being engulfed in the black flames of destruction. His body was completely charred black. The whole fight, bro was burning in an excruciating pain. The black flame of the Monarch dropped Suho's HP by 50% to 50,000 from 96,000. The only reason for his survival at this point was the over 113,000 mana points he was using to strengthen his body at the same time. Mind you, just moments before, Suho even tanked an attack from Siddharth's Etrum-powered Astra, which was so large and impactful that the whole state of Manipur and beyond were notified of this climactic battle. If not for his big brain idea to use the black flames to kill Siddharth, Suho would have been burned to a crisp in no time, which means not even flames that burn existence can fully kill Jin Woo, as at level 146, he had 93,300 HP and 155,720 magic. This is even before his Shadow Monarch awakening, by the way, so it's no wonder that concentrated beams of destruction by Antares himself only left a mere scratch on him. As fun as it is talking about raw stats of Jin Woo, we still have to keep in mind that he is a mage slash summoner class hunter, meaning he's the the strongest when using his abilities. First of which is the ruler's authority or telekinesis, allowing him to move objects around with his mind. And it's not just small things because he moved the giant statues of the architect. These are made from stone, and if we look at the size difference between Jin Woo and them, you can clearly tell that he's able to move literal buildings with his mind. However, this feat came before he became a monarch, so currently he should be able to move a small island, honestly. In fact, after going back in time, he was able to move an US army base with ease. This included around 10 tanks, which can weigh anywhere from 1.2 million pounds to 1.6 million pounds. Another devastating ability in Jin Woo's arsenal is Dragon Sphere, basically Conqueror's Haki on steroids. You know how Luffy could make an entire army of like 50,000 faint with his Haki? Well, Jin Woo literally said 10 million of the Dragon Monarch's henchmen packing. The absurd part of this power is that if you're just weaker than Jin Woo, then you will be affected by this. So even if a billion S-rankers or city level hunters stand in his way, with one shout, they will all shit their pants. But bro doesn't even need to bother with even lifting a finger, as by the end of the series, he has amassed over 10 million shadows, likely even more now, as evidenced by him mentioning how he already has another soldier at Beru's strength to replace him in chapter 170 of Ragnarok. For perspective, in chapter 216, Suho, after defeating Siddharth Bachchan and becoming level 100, is still so weak that he can't even grasp the power Beru wields. Oh, by the way, at this point, Beru is still in his weakened chibi form because of being away from his master Jin Woo. When a shadow soldier is too far away from Jin Woo, like multiple universes apart in the case of Beru, they can't recover their mana. So for the last 200 chapters, he has been feasting on magic stones and magic beast corpses to replenish his strength. Yet Beru isn't even close to his 100%. That's how busted these shadows are. Oh, by the way, Beru isn't even the strongest in Jin Woo's army. These shadows alone can fight monarchs on their own. However, one of the strongest qualities of Jin Woo is actually his intelligence, which allowed him to even survive all the trials to reach the level he's at right now. For example, it was Jin Woo who ascertained the mechanics of the statues and brought everyone to safety during the double dungeon raid. Most importantly, Jin Woo's intelligence and decision-making skill allowed him to save not just the world from the monarchs, but those who had died in the process. He cooked up a plan to go back in time to take out every single monarch by himself. This wasn't just based on his insane power, rather it was dependent on his IQ to regather the shadows he would lose by going back in time and then strategically assassinate every single monarch. And now in Solo Leveling Ragnarok, his power is so vast that when Javier, who is of the same race as the architect Candiaru, uses his magic to summon an illusion of Jin Woo from Suho's memories, you know what happened? This is the craziest shit. When I was reading Ragnarok, I was stood up like I was running around my room while reading this moment, okay? The illusion looks back at Javier and says, "You thought you could control me, the shadow freaking monarch, you little bitch!" The mere image of Jin Woo had the will and connection to his real consciousness or essence, which was universes and dimensions apart. This is how Suho ends up meeting his father for the first time in 5 years. With just a glance, Jin Woo understood his son's situation and even gave him a soul stone, which saves Suho 30 chapters later from Antares. You guys know I'm making that Solo Leveling Ragnarok, the entire light novel explained video, so you guys are gonna have to wait to find out more about that. Then for now, go get some gamer subs. Please get gamer subs, so they keep sending me gamer subs. I drink gamer subs, I read all of these novels, and I make videos on these novels. It's a win-win. Coming back to Jin Woo though, one of the main reasons for why our GOAT is this broken has to do with his dominion over death itself. That's the secret power the absolute being of Jin Woo's universe bestowed upon Ashborn, which now Jin Woo wields. Strength over death is like having dominion over a person's story itself. The ending to one's journey can be controlled by Jin Woo, which also means that he can't die. Jin Woo is basically immortal, and currently he lives in the void, the spaces between universes where the war against the Etrums is being fought at. Like, just to survive in this void, you need to be an S-rank hunter. Remember when I mentioned how the absolute being of Jin Woo's universe created literally everything, including the Shadow Monarch? Well, Jin Woo, by the end of the series, has nearly every power output of the absolute being being on his side. However, Ragnarok reveals there are more absolute beings known as the Eitrums. They are in charge of their own little universes, and Jin Woo has started his war against them. These Eitrums all seem to have around equal power, and they create their own universes for entertainment. However, with the death of Jin Woo's universe's absolute being, it's an opportunity for these outer gods to take all the mana from this universe of Jin Woo's to become stronger. So in this fight, the logical conclusion for the war to end would be for Jin Woo to become so strong that the creators of universes themselves are too afraid to battle him. And just for reference, Jin Woo surviving against these beings for the last 5 years in battle is honestly a testament to his own ability, which is on a universal scale. And if you guys want to learn about how strong guilds are in the Solo Leveling universe, and I even talk about some Ragnarok guilds, go watch the video showing on screen right now.